She thought no one would stop, until a mechanic changed everything. She had stopped counting the cars after the first 100. They blurred past her in streaks of metal and wind, horns slicing the air like accusations. The sun sat heavy above the highway, bleaching the world into harsh whites and grays. Heat rose from the asphalt in trembling waves, making the distance shimmer as if the road itself were uncertain whether to exist. Her car was not uncertain. It was dead. The hood was propped open, a useless gesture of hope, and she stood beside it with her phone clutched in her hand, battery blinking its final warning. No signal, no service, no miracle. She laughed once, short, bitter, at how predictable it all felt. Of course this would happen now. Of course it would be here, on a stretch of road that felt abandoned by God and forgotten by maps. Of course no one would stop. They never did. She had learned that lesson early in life. People slowed just enough to look, to assess whether your problem might become theirs, and then they moved on. Sympathy had a speed limit. She waved anyway, not because she believed, but because standing still felt like surrender. A pickup truck thundered past. A family sedan, a delivery van. One driver actually met her eyes, his expression apologetic, as if silently saying, "I'm late for something important." She wondered when she had stopped being important. The phone buzzed once and died in her hand. She exhaled and leaned against the car, sliding down until she was sitting on the gravel shoulder. The heat soaked through her jeans. Her throat tightened, not with tears, she was past those, but with exhaustion. Emotional, physical, the kind that made even hope feel heavy. She thought of turning back time, of different choices, different roads. She thought of how close she had been to not coming at all. The sound reached her before the sight. A low, uneven rumble. Not fast, not in a hurry. She didn't look up. Another car would just hurt more. The rumble slowed. Gravel crunched. An engine coughed, then settled into a rough idle. Silence followed, the kind that presses against your ears. "You all right there?" The voice was calm, not loud, not demanding attention. She looked up. The truck was old, paint faded to a color that might once have been blue. Rust freckled the edges like age spots. The driver's door creaked open, and a man stepped out, wiping his hands on a red shop rag. He was middle-aged, maybe older. Sun-worn skin, broad shoulders softened by time. Grease stained his jeans and clung permanently beneath his fingernails. He looked like someone who belonged to engines, not excuses. She stood quickly, brushing dust from her palms. I think my car overheated. Or something. It just shut off." He nodded, already walking toward the open hood. "Mind if I take a look?" She hesitated. Years of caution rose instinctively. But something in his manner, unhurried, uncurious in the wrong ways, quieted that reflex. "Please," she said. He leaned over the engine, peering inside like a doctor listening to a heartbeat. He didn't touch anything at first. Just looked, listened, smelled. "That light come on before it died?" He asked. "Yeah, temperature warning." He reached in, gently testing a hose. "Steam, a little." He straightened, nodding to himself. Radiator hose cracked. "Been leaking a while." Finally gave up. Her shoulders sagged. "Is that bad?" "Not the worst. Not the best." He smiled faintly. "Car's got good timing though. Didn't cook itself." She blinked. "You can fix it." He shrugged. "I can patch it enough to get you moving." Hope stirred, fragile and dangerous. "How long will that take?" 20 minutes. Maybe 30 if the sun keeps fighting me." Relief rushed through her so fast it made her dizzy. Thank you. Really. I don't have much cash on me, but..." He waved a hand without looking at her. "We'll worry about that later." He popped open the back of his truck, revealing a chaos of tools, spare parts, and coffee cups that suggested this was not a hobby but a life. As he worked, she stood nearby, unsure what to do with herself. "Not many folks stop anymore," she said quietly. He didn't look up. "No, why did you?" He paused, wrench in hand. Considered. "Because one day I didn't." She waited. "My wife," he continued, voice steady but thinner now, "broke down like this. Years back. I was running late. Thought someone else would help." He tightened a clamp, jaw working. "Someone did. Just not in time." The words settled between them, heavy and final. "I'm sorry," she whispered. He nodded once. "Me too." They stood in silence after that, the wind carrying the scent of oil and hot metal. When he finished, he closed the hood with a firm, confident thud. "That should hold till the next town," he said. "Get a proper replacement there." She reached for her wallet, hands trembling. not from fear, but from something dangerously close to gratitude. He gently pushed it back. "Pay it forward," he said. "That's enough." She swallowed. "I will." He climbed back into his truck, engine rattling to life. Before pulling away, he looked at her once more. "Safe travels," he said. She watched him drive off, his truck shrinking into the wavering horizon. When she turned the key, the engine started smoothly, obedient as if nothing had ever been wrong. She sat there for a moment, hands resting on the wheel, breathing. She had thought no one would stop. She had been wrong. And as she pulled back onto the road, she knew something else had changed too, not just the car, but the quiet belief she carried with her. Sometimes, someone does stop. And sometimes, that's enough to change everything.